Thank you. Congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much.
First of all, is there a certain pressure you feel when you're stepping into sort of a project such as this, where it was based on a beloved sort of old TV series?
Yes, but I think no more pressure than the director and the writers. I think they get the most pressure, because I think that, you know, when it comes out, they get the most criticism if it didn't exceed or, you know, or meet people's expectations, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel for them in writing towards something that people know and loved, and then writing to a different audience that doesn't know it at all.
Yeah, so straddling the line between connecting with the past and that tightrope.
It is. So if they do it well, I mean, kudos to them.
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Were you familiar with the old series?
Definitely. Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah. I love Fantasy Island, the original show. But because my character, unlike Michael Peña's character, wasn't an original character in the series, I got to create something new, like, in that world. Whereas, like, Michael really did study Ricardo, like, before. Yeah, he really did, yeah.
I was thinking about that sort of pressure.
He wore the same socks. Like, Ricardo always wore black socks with white shoes.
Right.
And white linen. And Michael was like, no, I'm doing exactly. He wanted everything the same.
Yes.
Decision, yeah.
That's what
I like it.
He had to really sort of scrutinise and compare and think, oh God, am I matching up?
He did.
Whereas for you had that sort of remit and you could go off.
Yeah.
So
I got off
how did you approach it? You did get off it.
I really did. And what was nice was I was able to support Michael Peña in what he was doing to owe to the original. Because most of my scenes are with him.
Yeah.
The kind of meteor scenes, the dialogue scenes are all with Michael for me. So that was great to be able to go, oh, okay, so this is an original character that he has to create, and I'm going to watch him and see how I can support that.
Yeah, they did a good job as well.
Thank you.
And did you think, how did, with regards to Blumhouse being involved, is there because obviously they've built this reputation, you know, founded on sort of horror and being sort of a lower budget, it doesn't feel low budget, but is there a sort of tangible difference with their involvement? Did you pick up on?
Yeah.
Really? Really? How did it come through?
Well, you know, they sort of have a system of how they do things, right? And I think that in the last couple of years, they've really sort of started to step away from just the horror, you know, with the success of Get Out and moving more into the psychological realm of thriller, which I appreciate so much more because I think it's much smarter filmmaking.
Yeah.
Harder to do, harder to write, harder to execute. And had success with. And so when I read the Fantasy Island script, I realized that I was living in this sort of realm of that new cusp that Blumhouse was doing. And then Sony got involved too, which was really nice. Yeah. And so it was sort of like studio / you know, what I'd known from Blumhouse and what Sony was going to bring to the project as well. And then I think that they were on the cusp of something new as far as like what they were bringing to audiences. Because they've got genre on lock. Yeah. They don't need to improve that. They do very well, you know, with that. So I think that growth is nice to see.
It does feel as though there's a philosophical message that runs through the film, isn't it? Because it's about fantasy fulfillment, but actually it's quite a pessimistic view in some ways, wouldn't you say, really, about human nature?
Because it's centrally focusing on the price.
Yeah.
Right? The price of what, you know, like, you know, when a girlfriend says, oh, I met this guy and he's really great and he's really rich, I'm like, okay. You know, I sort of, my alarm bells start to go off because I go, well, then what's the motive? You know, what's happening? How many options does this guy have?
Yeah.
What's he doing when you're not around? Like, I always sort of feel that, like, there is a price.
If something's too good to be true, it usually is, kind of thing, sometimes in life.
Yeah, in life, you know, there's a price. And if you're willing to live with it, fine.
A trade.
But know what it is you're getting into.
So your character, though, Elena, I mean, her fantasy is to go back in time and rectify something in her past.
Definitely.
Is that something you connect with? I mean, if you could go back, would you go and rectify something in your past and change it?
I don't think I sort of live in a place of light in that every negative experience I've had has grown me, thank God. And so I've gotten something really positive out of it, regardless of how I felt at the time. Yeah. But I was saying earlier that, you know, there are things sort of like in my earlier days, in my earlier 20s, where I was just an entirely emotional person, where it's like anything that came at me was pain, like hurt me. Yeah. Everything was personal. And the truth is, it's really not, like 95% of the time, right? So it's kind of what you take it, and becoming and growing into a professional in this business has made me feel so much better. And if I could go back and like change that person who was reactionary to everything, I would definitely do that.
Would you?
But I think the lessons were good.
Yeah. Because I suppose that's where growth comes from.
That's where growth comes from. And growth is painful.
Yeah.
If you're in pain, that's good.
Yeah. So they say something about, you learn more from your losses than you do your victories in life and things like that.
It's really true, because I read this interview on Bill Clinton once, and it was talking about how, it was really, his growth was really those scissors that were kind of in his side that were pushing him out into the world. And it was those pains that put him in front of his flaws and his mistakes and all of that. And that's how he grew. It's interesting.
It is interesting. It applies to all of us, even in that example.
Yes.
In that office. And
God,
it transfers
so
to all
much
of
to
us.
say.
So, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. See you.
See you.